Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
He's laughing his sick fucking ass off. He's a tight ass. He's a sadist.
Okay, when I introduce you, I'm gonna say, this is a friend of mine. That means you're a connected guy. Now, if I said instead, this is a friend of ours, that would mean you were a made guy. Capiche?
Boys, we're back in business.
Our true enemy has not yet shown his face.
Brother, you are going down.
Hooah!
When the country was young and life was tough,
Did you hear there's a depression on?
Aw, Ma, I know you got a dime hit someplace.
a boy had few places to turn.
Wanna go down to church?
I wish I could go to the movies.
25 cents all day till 6.
But Gennaro could always turn to his grandfather.
It don't seem right.
What don't?
That you should die just so I can go to the movies.
He shared his wisdom.
If a man is a virgin on his wedding night, he's gonna be a virgin the rest of his
I
life.
didn't know men can be virgins.
He opened his heart.
You won't do me one little favor.
Says who?
You gonna do it?
Sure, but what?
Hello everyone and welcome back to my Al Pacino review series, the only review series on YouTube covering every single movie from Al Pacino's legendary career. This is episode 9 of the second season and we're covering a sort of little undiscovered hidden gem, if you will, as I found it to be on my sort of recent watch of it. It's a film I've watched only a handful of times, but every time I do watch it, I do always like watching it, and I like, of course, the performance by Pacino. It's the movie from 1995 called Two Bits, aka A Day to Remember, as it is known here in the Netherlands, or I guess the European title for it. Get the glare out. With Al Pacino, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, and Jerry Barrone, and among others, directed by James Foley. Now, James Foley is the man that directed Pacino in Glengarry Glen Ross, and as a favor to James Foley, Pacino agreed to appear in this film. This film really didn't make much of an impact or anything. It's, like I said, very undiscovered, hidden little gem. I couldn't even find footage. Couldn't even find footage for this film on YouTube or whatever. Usually I take footage for movies from YouTube and sort of reuse them in the reviews, so you guys have the footage. So there won't be a narration bit in this video. This will be just me on camera. And maybe we'll play a trailer in the bottom left hand corner or right hand corner or whatever. But I couldn't find a lot of footage. I even tried to go the high seas route to get some footage, but even that didn't really amount to anything. So sadly, no footage of the film for this one, so I'll just talk off the cuff on camera a little bit about it and give you a rating. Basically, it's a nice little sort of coming of age sort of story. It actually reminded me in bits here and there about reminded me of a Bronx Tale, even though it has nothing to do with the mob or anything, but still the sort of the coming of age thing, growing up in a neighborhood a little bit, sort of reminded me a bit of a Bronx Tale with De Niro. I'm not saying this is as good as Bronx Tale or as undiscovered or whatever as Bronx Tale. Bronx Tale is a little undiscovered masterpiece. This film, I thought was really, really good, and it did sort of pull on my heartstrings a bit with some scenes, especially towards the end. I'm not going to give away too much, obviously, in this review. Yeah, let's get into it a little bit. So yeah, the plot of the movie goes as follows. It sort of takes place during the Great Depression, 1933 or something like that, if I remember correctly, where you have the young kid, 12-year-old Gennaro, played by Jerry Barrone, who lives with his widowed mom, played by Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, and his aging and ailing grandfather, played by Al Pacino, who basically sits outside all day holding on to his last quarter, which he's promised to his grandson, upon because the grandfather feels he's dying, and he says, well, if I die today, I give you my last quarter. He's an Italian grandfather, so he has a little accent going on. Anyway, Gennaro, the kid, he would like to have this quarter because this is the day on which the film takes place, that a new sort of cinema has opened in town, sort of a grand opening of a plush new local movie theater called La Paloma, which Gennaro would love to go and see a picture, as they were calling that time. However, Grandpa's not ready to just kick over the bucket and hand over the quarter just yet. He needs a favor from Gennaro. So the movie basically follows a kid, you know, sort of going around, helping his grandfather, even, you know, doing some other way, finding other ways to make, you know, a couple of cents. Obviously, it's a Great Depression. If an adult is going to give him a little job, he's going to give him 5 or 10 cents or whatever, if that. Anyway, you know, the grandfather has some unfinished business with a woman from his past, so Gennaro is sent to sort of make peace, or sort of seek a little redemption, or I guess for the grandfather. It's a very, very nice coming of age story. Like I said, I think it's very, very underrated, undiscovered. I think more people should check this movie out. Again, like I said, it doesn't have the best availability. I think you might find a DVD release, you know, in a lot of countries. I know, obviously, I have the Dutch DVD. It's got to be on DVD in the States. I know that. I don't know about availability in the UK or other places. But if you look hard enough, I think a DVD will not be the biggest problem. But the fact that it's just so forgotten and stuff, and like I said, there's not even a proper trailer on YouTube. There is a trailer on YouTube, which, like I said, I might play in this video. It might have already appeared. But it only has like Portuguese subtitles, and it's like a VHS rip trailer. Like, there's not even a full, you know, restored trailer or anything. There's nothing. If you type in 2 bits on YouTube, you will get a couple of clips from the movie in Italian, from an Italian channel. They've uploaded it, but again, those clips ran too long. I couldn't really use them in the review. But yeah, it's like I said, it's a shame this film is so forgotten, because it's actually a pretty damn decent film. Pacino gives a fantastic performance as the aging alien grandfather, even though the aging makeup on him isn't maybe the most convincing, because Pacino was in his early 50s at this point. Yeah, he just came off of, you know, obviously, you know, Godfather 3, where they aged him up, Frankie and Johnny, Dick Tracy, all those movies, especially Frankie and Johnny. He still had a, you know, very sort of youngish, I guess, looking sort of face. Khalil's Way was the movie right before where he had the beard, which, yeah, that sort of made him look mature and everything. But for this one, they really had a lot of prosthetics and a lot of sort of, you know, makeup effects to age him up. Again, not the best results, but still a sort of physical performance, the way he sort of slouches a little bit and stuff, it's enough to convince you that he's playing like 80 or, you know, 85-year-old grandfather or whatever. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, for the little she has to do in the film as well, I think does a fantastic job. You know, she's a very underrated actress. I mean, she's been obviously in Scarface, but she's been terrific in The Abyss, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Class Action, which is a film with Gene Hackman, which I recently saw. That was a good film. She was great in that. Pretty much everything I've seen Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, and she's always been an excellent. I can't sort of believe that she hasn't, you know, sort of blew up into a bigger sort of star or actress or whatever. Because I think she knocks it out of the park every single time. So props to Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio for this one. And also the actor that plays the kid, Jerry Barrone. Yeah, Jerry Barrone's the name of the actor. I think he did a great job. He sort of had a little bit of a mischievous, you know, playfulness to his character. Of course, it's a kid. Some great dialogue as well. I mean, some dialogue I think might be a little too mature, you know, for a kid. I don't think a kid would say stuff like that, especially in the 30s. However, again, I do like it. I do like it. So overall, yeah, like I said, as the film sort of drew to its conclusion, it sort of tugged on my heartstrings. It pulled on my heartstrings a little bit. And I'm not going to spoil what happens in the end, but obviously, as I have sort of talked about the fact that Al Pacino's an ailing grandfather, you might already guess what happens. But all I can say is the ending is very sort of bittersweet and whatever. And I should mention also, as another actor in the film, he doesn't really appear on screen, but actually the film is told in narration from an older Gennaro, who's actually the voice throughout the film that you hear is the voice of Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin did the narration for the film, so in a way it's also a bit of a reunion between Alec Baldwin and James Foley, because Baldwin, of course, was also in Glengarry Glen Ross, and also Baldwin and Pacino, even though they, again, never shared a screen, which is a shame. But yeah, I mean, like I said, overall it's a nice little film, and I do recommend it to everybody that hasn't seen it yet. I recommend it for Pacino fans because it's a very sort of underrated performance of his. I do rate the performance high, to be fair. I think he did a really, really, really fantastic job. If it wasn't for Pacino, this film I think would have pretty much been wiped out from existence, which is a shame because, like I said, the story is good and everything, and the rest of the supporting cast. But for me, obviously, the way that I see it, Pacino really makes this film. Every scene that he had with the kid, I thought was just excellent. So yeah, there you guys have it. That's pretty much my review, my sort of little going over the plot and the characters and the themes and stuff. As good as I can do it off the cuff without a script, I should add on camera. Of 2 bits, 1995, A Day to Remember. Yeah, I'll probably give this film a 6.5 out of 10. I wanted to maybe go for a 7, but I felt that would have been maybe a little too high. But it would definitely reach up to a 7. So between 6.5 and a 7, it's my final rating. I again recommend it for Pacino fans and people who are fans of like these coming of age stories like Stand By Me, Bronx Tale. You know, the list goes on and on. Anyway, next up on my Al Pacino review series, again, apologies for this review that there won't be like narration and footage and stuff, but that will be more than made up for in the next review, which is a review of a revered classic movie, also from 1995, the second of 2 films he did in 95. He teamed up with Michael Mann and Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer in Heat, which is coming up on next week's episode. Heat from 1995. Fantastic film. I'm looking forward to this one. Looking forward to rewatching it again for the review as well. So anyway, there you guys have it. That was my little review for 2 bits. Hope you enjoyed. Again, despite there not being, you know, a section with narration and footage and stuff, I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. Anyway, that's it for now. Keep punching, stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you all for 1995's Heat next week. Take care. Hooah!
It's the one sin I committed in my life. I couldn't forget the next day.
What happened?
And most of all, he gave a boy the courage to dream.
Get out of the heat. Get out of the depression. South Philly's brand new movie theater. New seats, new carpets, all air-cooled.
In a time of sadness, they had laughter. In a place of hardship, they had hope. And in a world where many were alone, they had each other. Jerry Barrone, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, and Al Pacino. From heart to heart and generation to generation,
I love you, Grandpa.
one family found the pathway to a miracle.
Can you see my house? The house God had built it for me. What's it made of?
It's made of gold.
Nah, made of bricks.
All it took was a little magic, 1 wish, and 2 bits.